All right, greetings. Before I even start my next video on inequalities, this is going to be inequalities, actually video 4. However, on video number 3, the bonus was actually I gave you the right answer. However, the method in getting to that answer, I went against my own rules, and one of my students, Asar, brought it to my attention. So I do want to give a shout out to him for bringing that to my attention. So we're going to go ahead and redo this problem, but I'm going to follow all of my rules without breaking any of them, and then we're going to go ahead and get to the end. Okay, so the first thing we want to do with this particular challenge is when you have a variable by itself, put a 1 in front of it. It makes it a lot easier to understand. And so the first thing we're going to do is distributive property. So we're going to multiply everything that's inside these parentheses. So 7 times -1 should have given you -7x. 7 times a +4 should have given you a +28. And you should bring the +16 down. Is greater or equal to 5x. And right here, before we even get to this point right here, whenever you have a subtraction sign right outside the parentheses here, you're going to put an imaginary 1 there as well. So we have a 1 right here. So that means we're going to do a distributive property for everything that's inside of here. So the -1 times 10 will be -10x. And then -1 times a -6 should be a +6 minus 6. Now, at this point, we want to look and see if there's any like terms that's on the same side. If we split this down the line right here, look and see if there's any like terms on the same side. And we see we have these two numbers right here. We need to make those one number. So we have -7x plus, and that should be 44, is greater or equal to, and there's 5x and -10x. We want to make that one number as well. So that would be, yes, -5x. And these two numbers right here will cancel each other out. And so this is the extent of our problem right here. We're going to keep it moving. What is our like terms? Yes, our like terms would be let's go with the -5 and the -7x. And this is where there's an exception to a rule. When you have a variable all by itself on this side of the sign here, by itself, right here, the 5, like the 5 is right here, you don't move that one. You got to move the other like term. And this like term, we're going to change to the opposite of what it is. Right now, it's a -7x. So we're going to make that +7x. Then we're going to put +7x on this side. Cross this out. We're going to bring everything else down. We have 44 is greater or equal to 2x. Now we have to obviously divide. So whatever number's next to the variable, which is a 2, we're going to put it underneath there. We're going to put it underneath there. We're going to cross cancel these 2's, bring everything else down. We have x is greater or equal to, and we know this is going to be 22. But remember, we can't have, we always start off with the variable. So we're going to have to switch these. We're going to put the x right here. We're going to put the 22 right there. And this sign here has to change direction. So it's going to be less than or equal than. And so this final answer was exactly the same. I had the right answers, just the route of going to get to the answer was not the way I taught you. So anyway, this is your correct answer for the bonus problem that was on the last video. And it is x is less than or equal to 22. So if you got that, give yourself a round of applause. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get going on the next video, which this. All right, greetings, welcome everybody. This is Brother Tabidi. Today we're going to be doing, yes, some more inequalities. This is actually video 4 of inequalities. But the inequalities we're going to be doing today is solving and graphing inequalities with absolute value. All right. This time we're not going to only solve them, but we're going to also graph them as well. Okay, so for the first one right here, we're going to do the same thing we did. Go ahead and rewrite the problems, and when we rewrite the problem, we're gonna leave these brackets out. So I'm just going to go x plus 1 is greater than 9. What's our like terms? Yes, our like terms are 9 and 1. Which one do we move? Yes, the 1. We make it a -1, -1. Cross this out. Cross it out. We bring the x down. We bring the greater than sign down. And then this is going to be 8. And so we have one of our answers here as x is greater than 8. Okay, let's go ahead to the other side. For the negative case, we're going to go ahead and rewrite the problem. Remember, we're going to put a -1. We're always going to start off with a -1. And this x right here, we're going to put that, instead of brackets, we're going to put that in parentheses. Close the parentheses and write the rest of the problem out. +1 is greater than 9. And remember, we're going to go ahead and put that imaginary 1 right here. Now let's go ahead and do our distributive property like we've been doing before. So we know that -1 times a +1 is going to be a -1x. Right? Then we go ahead and bring everything else down. +1 is greater than 9. Now what are our like terms? Yes, our like terms would be 9 and 1. Which one are we going to move? Yes, we're going to be moving the 1, the +1, makes it a -1. -1. Go ahead and cross this out. And we bring this down. This is going to be, yes, this is going to be negative, it's going to be -8. I'm sorry, it's going to be 8, not -8. It's going to be 8. And then we bring the greater sign down. And then we're going to be -1x down. Now at this point, we have to do our division, right? So whatever number that's right next to the variable here, we're going to put that number underneath there, put that same number underneath there. And remember, these two are going to cancel out. When we bring this down, it's going to be x is greater than, and now we're going to have to divide by the 8 here. So this right here is going to be -8. However, since we know that we have to divide by a negative number right here, that sign is going to change to the opposite of what it is. And so instead of x is greater than -8, it's going to be x is less than -8 on this side. Okay. And so if you see both of our answers here, we have two different answers. We have x is greater than 8. So let's go ahead and graph that. So let's go ahead and go to, I guess I'll use some blue here. Okay, so we got x is greater than 8. So go ahead and find +8, and it says greater than, so it's going to be an open circle. And then we know it's going to be going in a positive direction here until infinity. So that's what it'll look like. Now that's for the positive. Now what about the negative? For the negative, it says that x is less than -8. So that means you need to go back to -8 or go to -8. And it's going to be an open circle, same scenario. But since it says less than, yes, we're going to be going to this, in this direction right here until infinity. Okay, so that way you got both of them on the line, on your graphing line at the same time. And so if you got that, you got it right. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one up here for you guys to do yourself. Okay, you can do it. Go ahead and put one up here for yourself, and you can pause the video and work it out. Okay, I'm actually going to do one more, and then I'll let you guys work some out yourself, because this is done a little bit different. I want to make sure we're on the right page. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. For the positive case, we're just going to remove the brackets here, and we're just going to work it out like a basic equation. So 4x minus 2 is less than or equal to 10, or inequality, excuse me. Okay, what is our like terms here? We have two like terms. Yes, we can say it's the 10 here and also the -2. Now out of these two, which one do we move? Yes, we move the 2, make that a +2, make this a +2. Cross this out. Bring this down. We have 12. We have less than or equal to, and we have 4x. And if you remember, whatever number that's right next to the variable here, we have to put that same number underneath there. Put that same number underneath there. We're going to be canceling some things out, correct? We're going to cancel these out. Bring the x down. Less than or equal to, and 12 divided by 4 we know is, yes, 3. And so on this side we have x is less than or equal to 3. Now let's go ahead and do the negative case. Now for the negative case, just like we did in the last particular challenge, when we rewrite the problem, we're going to put these brackets in parentheses. But before we put them in parentheses, remember, since this is negative, we're going to put a negative 1 on the outside, and inside we're going to go ahead and put 4x minus 2, close parentheses, is greater or equal to 10. Okay, remember, we're going to be doing distributive property first. Negative 1 times 4x is negative 4x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2. Bring the negative, bring the less than or equal to sign, and then 10. Now, do we have like terms? Yes, we do. We have a 10 here, and we also have a 2. Which one are we going to change and move? Yes, we're going to change this, make that a negative 2. Make this a negative 2. Cross this out. This should give us 8 less than or equal to negative 4x. Look like we have a division problem here. Negative 4 and negative 4. Okay, we go ahead and cancel those 4's out. We bring this down. We have an x is greater or equal to, what is 8 divided by 4? Yes, it is 2, and that's going to be a negative 2. However, we're dividing with a negative number, right? Right there. Yeah. When you're dividing by a negative number, we have to put this sign in the opposite direction. So this is going to be x is greater or equal to negative 2. Okay, so when we graph these, we have x is less than or equal to 3, and we have x is greater than negative 2. And so we have x is greater than negative 2. So we have a solid circle here. That's negative 2. Right? Then we have a positive 3. We have a positive 3. And so this is the way we're going to have it. Just like that. All right, I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and I want you guys to go ahead and work this one out right here. I want you to solve it and graph it just the way I did the last one. All right, let's go ahead and work this one out. So the first thing you should have done is what we did before. Don't worry about these brackets. Just bring the problem down here. We have 2x plus 4 is less than 12. What are our like terms? Yes, our like terms would be 12 and positive 4. Which one do we move? Yes, the negative. We made this for a negative 4. We change it over here and make that a negative 4. Cross this out. We bring this down. It's going to be 8 is less than 2x. 2 there, 2 there. The 2's cross out. We have x is less than, and 8 divided by 2 is, yes, 4. And so it looks like one of our answers is going to be x is less than 4. So now let's go over here to our negative case. Over here to the negative case, we're going to rewrite the problem. However, wherever we see these brackets here, we're going to make those into parentheses. 2x plus 4. And then remember, on the outside, we're going to have a negative 1. And then we continue to write the rest of the problem out. Okay, remember the first thing we do is what's called distributive property. We're going to multiply this by everything inside. So negative 1 times 2x is, yes, negative 2x. Negative 1 times a positive 4 is, yes, negative 4 is less than 12. Now, what are our like terms? Yes, 12 and negative 4. Okay, which one are we going to move? Yes, the negative 4. We're going to make that positive 4. Make this positive 4. Cross this out. Then we're going to have 16. We're going to have a less than sign, and we're going to have negative 2x. Now, our next stage, you know, is going to be division. So take that same number that's underneath the, that's here. We make that a negative 2. Negative 2 here. And we're going to cross cancel, get those negative 2's out, or actually cancel each other out. And then we have a less than, and then 16 divided by 2 will be negative 8. But remember, we're dividing by a negative number here. So since you're dividing by a negative number, we have to change this direction. So let's rewrite this as x is greater than negative 8. So let's go ahead and, okay. So what first thing you want to do is both points, don't start putting things to infinity. What I want you to do is, first of all, we got x is greater than 4. Just go ahead and put your circle right there on 4. Right there on 4, because you know it's going to be open-ended. And then the other one here says x is greater than negative 8. So we have negative 8 right there. And so now at this point, all we need to do is, yes, connect them together. So if your graph looks something like that, give yourself a round of applause. All right. I guess I'll have you guys do one more and then we will call it a day. All right, go ahead and solve it. Yes, set your timer to 1 minute. Okay, pause the video and work this out. All right, so the first thing we should have done is went on and go ahead and set and get rid of those brackets and put p plus 3 is less than 4. What are our like terms? Yes, our like terms will be the 4 here and the 3. Which one are we going to move? Yes, the 3. We change that to a negative 3. Make that a negative 3. Cross that out. We're going to have p is less than 1. And that's one of our answers. Now we have to go to our negative case. Our negative case, we're going to put in parentheses. Okay, we're going to put in parentheses the p plus 3 is less than 4. And remember, we have a negative 1 on the outside. And remember, when we have a variable, just put an imaginary 1 inside right there. So this is negative 1 times 1p is negative 1p. Negative 1 times positive 3 is negative 3 is less than 4. Now, what is your like terms? You have 4 and negative 3. Which one are we going to move? Yes, this one. You make that positive 3. Make this positive 3. Cross this out. Then we have yes, a 7. Then symbol, and then we have negative 1p. Got to divide. Negative 1 here. Negative 1 there. We know we're going to cross out these two right here. We're going to have p is 7. This is the division problem, right? Right? Yes, so it's going to be negative 7. But remember, we're dividing by a negative number, so we have to make it just the opposite. So P is greater than -7. So what you want to do, the first thing is look at both of your answers. We have a 1 here. So let's go ahead and make a circle at the +1. This is actually a 1, should be about right here. And then we also have a -7, which is right here. And all we have to do is, yes, connect them together. And if you got that, give yourself a roaring round of applause. Yeah.